We just got tons of new info regarding Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, more specifically, the monster for the game, the location, and now we know the exact time the first Chapter 4 teaser trailer is going to come out, and a lot more, so you're going to want to watch until the end. So first, let's start off with the location of Chapter 4. Now, first when I say that, you might not really know what I'm talking about, but basically, the location for a Poppy Playtime game is where you spend most of the time in the game. Chapter 1 just being the original office and main area of the Playtime Co. facility, Chapter 2 being the game station, and Chapter 3 being Playcare. And in Chapter 3, we saw this weird sign on one of the walls that said Elliot Ludwig presents Playtime Co.'s new park. Now this could have just been something to expand this universe a little bit more, and just adds on to the world of Poppy Playtime, making it seem more real and lived in. But when I first saw this in Chapter 3, I thought it might be a hint for the Chapter 4 location, it being some type of theme park. And obviously there's a lot of flaws in that theory, like how would a theme park be in a Playtime Co. factory? And in this photo we can obviously see that the park is outside, not inside. So unless the park is literally right next to Playtime Co. or behind it, then this theory is most likely not true. So then, where is Chapter 4 taking place? Obviously, it has to be somewhere inside of the Playtime Co. facility, meaning it has to be 1, indoors, and 2, it has to make sense. Well, here's the main gist of the theory. What if Chapter 4 takes place in some type of Egyptian area in the factory? Now that might sound really far-fetched and weird at first, but there's actually a lot to back this up, starting off with this photo that was released about a month ago. Now Mob Entertainment uploaded this onto their Twitter, and it didn't really make sense at first, until we realized that the magazines were actually hints for things to come in the future, and everything in this photo was pretty much found out except for one thing. The sandcastle pyramid thing in the bottom left. Now like I said, no one has even solved what this means yet, but I think, what if this is actually a hint for the Chapter 4 location? That being some type of pyramid / Egyptian area in the factory, and now you might be thinking, okay, that's the only piece of evidence you have? I'm still not convinced. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really either, but my most convincing piece of evidence goes back to the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 recap videos. Within these videos, there's a bunch of secret codes, and I did talk about these in my last couple of videos, so if you want to see what they mean, go watch those. But if you just look at these random secret codes they put in these videos, they're just a bunch of random letters, until you realize to actually know what they mean, you have to put them into something called Caesar cipher. Now this is a very common way to figure out what something means, especially used by game developers and movie trailers, and it gives you more pieces of lore to solve the story. Now if we actually look at that name, it connects to my theory pretty well. Caesar cipher, obviously referring to Julius Caesar, a real person that actually did live in the Roman times, where pyramids and stuff like that were very common. Now I know this theory is most likely wrong. I just figured because they're making us use Caesar cipher and there's a weird pyramid sandcastle in one of the photos they uploaded, I felt that there's no way that that could be a coincidence. And I know I don't have a lot of evidence right now, but I guess we'll have to wait until Chapter 4 to find out if I'm actually right or not. But now, let's talk about the first Chapter 4 teaser trailer. Now at first, you guys might think we've already gotten our first teaser trailer for Chapter 4, those being the recap videos. And while yes, I do feel like there is some secrets for Chapter 4 in them, those being the secret codes they put. And the first ARG video, once you actually solve the code, it's the first bit of a sentence, and then the Chapter 2 ARG had the next part of the sentence. And now since the Chapter 3 ARG is not out yet, we don't have the last part. But once that does come out, I feel like we'll have a full sentence, which will be our first actual teaser for Chapter 4. But what about teaser like a photo or a trailer, not some sentence? Like how Chapter 3 for its build-up, the first thing we ever got was this teasered photo, revealing Catnap's arm. Well, I feel like I know when we're going to get something like that for Chapter 4. Well, Zach Bellinger, the CEO of Mob Entertainment, and also someone who's very active in their Discord server, only about an hour or two after the Chapter 1 recap came out, he said, "Who wants a teaser?" Obviously referring to Chapter 4, which made the chat get really hyped up, only for a couple minutes later, him to say, "I don't have one." Now this was pretty random, it didn't really make sense. But then about an hour or two after the Chapter 2 recap came out, again, he said, "Who wants a teaser?" Now everyone was saying, is this a trick? And it actually took him a while to respond, and then a couple minutes later, he said, "I don't have one." Now it seems like he's saying this after every single recap video comes out, and I don't know if we're getting a Project Playtime recap or not. It seems like it's just going to be the main series of games, Chapter 1, 2, and 3, but I feel like when the Chapter 3 recap comes out, Zach Bellinger will come back into the chat and say, "Who wants a teaser?" Everyone thinking it's a trick, until a couple minutes later, he actually does have one. It potentially being a photo for Chapter 4, just like how we got this one for Chapter 3. But next, I want to go over something I saw on their Discord server which actually interested me, and it was a question that someone asked one of the developers. So I'm sure all of you have heard by now, but Poppy Playtime Chapters 1, 2, and 3 are going to be in a bundle for PlayStation 4 and 5, coming out on Halloween night. Now in a couple of my recent videos, I was talking about when Chapter 2 is going to come to consoles, and everyone was wondering why I was taking such a long time, but it turns out they weren't just working on Chapter 2, they were also working on putting Chapter 3 on consoles, and they're both coming out on the same day. And I did see this on Mob Entertainment's Twitter, but apparently there's going to be a reversible cover, and it looks really cool. There's Huggy Wuggy and Catnap, and some designs that we've never really seen them in before, obviously looking a lot more threatening and scary. But now, here's the thing I saw on their Discord server which interested me. So now, PC and console are both caught up with the Poppy Playtime games. They both have chapters 1, 2, and 3. Well, console doesn't have them yet, but they will have them on Halloween. But because console is just as caught up as PC is, does this mean that Chapter 4 is going to release on consoles the same day it releases on PC? Now, when I first heard they're dropping the second and third game on consoles on the same day, I immediately thought that Chapter 4 is going to come out on console the same day it comes out on PC. But what did the developers say about this? Someone in their Discord server, who's just as curious as I am, said, "Hey Tyler, I don't know if this is NDA, but since console is now going to be caught with the story, do you guys plan on releasing Chapter 4 on PC and console at the same time?" And then the dev, Tyler, said, "Basically anything that's not officially announced by official mob channel, whether or not it's happening, I have to say NDA. So NDA, LMAO. So this doesn't mean no for Chapter 4 on consoles. It just means that he's not really allowed to talk about it at the moment. But honestly, business-wise, it makes a lot more sense to release it on consoles on the same day. Because obviously when Chapter 3 came out, not everyone had a PC, so not everyone was able to play it when it came out. And just now we're starting to get it on consoles. And by this point, pretty much all the Poppy Playtime fans have seen the game, making a lot less people want to buy it. But if they release Chapter 4 the same day they release it on PC, they release it to console, I feel like that'd be a great business decision, getting a lot more downloads for the game, in turn, making more money. And now before we move on, I just want to talk about something that Mob Games said on Twitter. But because it's Labor Day weekend, that means it's a 3-day weekend instead of 2. So Poppy Playtime chapters 2 and 3 are both 34% off, all the way through September 2nd. And then here's what they said about it on Twitter. 3-day weekend, perfect time to get ready for the next chapter. Now this isn't really like a huge teaser or anything, but it just lets us know that something's coming soon, definitely related to Chapter 4. But for some reason, in this tweet, they didn't say it like it's a teaser coming soon or a trailer. They're telling us to get ready for the entire next chapter, probably coming out sometime in early 2025. So this is just hinting that Chapter 4 is coming soon. And now before I end the video, there's one more thing that I need to talk about regarding the Chapter 3 recap video. More specifically, its release date. Now why am I even talking about this in the first place? Well, obviously these recap videos aren't just recap videos, they're our first teasers for Chapter 4, and I solved the exact release date for the Chapter 3 recap. So in the Chapter 1 recap video, the first thing we hear is this.
Playtime co-security log 0, 1, 2, 5. Entry to front lobby, breached by unknown intruder.
Security log 0125. Now what we're going to focus on here is those last two numbers, 25. And now the Chapter 1 recap video was actually uploaded on July 25th. So the security log tape number is 0125, and this was uploaded on July 25. And this is what we hear when the Chapter 2 recap starts.
Playtime co-security log 0, 1, 2, 6. Unscheduled transit access in-game station.
Security log 0126. And this Chapter 2 recap video was actually uploaded on the 26th of August. So it seems like we're going in order of the security log tapes, the next one being 0127. Meaning that if Mob Games keeps doing this trend where they upload on the same day the security log number is, we're going to be getting the Chapter 3 recap on September 27th. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. Goodbye.